Hello and welcome to Lord of the Board. My name is Sam and today I am feeling sick. Very, very sick. Unfortunately, I have been sick for like the past 3 weeks or so, it's felt like. It's just been from one thing to another, from one thing to this, and it's just bad. So I just want to apologize for my voice during this video. I don't typically do this, but it's just been so long that I just feel like I want to put a video out and talk to you guys. And today's video is something that I'm actually really passionate about, and it's something that I'm very interested in general. And that topic is philosophy and kind of what makes people, what drives people is kind of something that I'm super interested in. And so today I wanted to talk about my board gaming philosophy. But before we kind of dive into my board gaming philosophy, I want to give you guys kind of a definition so that just in case you're watching this video and you're like, I have no idea what philosophy means, I have no idea what this guy is talking about. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give you the definition. So it's just a Google definition. The study of the fundamental nature of knowledge, reality, and existence, especially when considered as an academic discipline. A particular system of philosophical thought, for example. A personal philosophy, which a lot of people have heard that phrase, it's a set of guiding principles that help people live their lives. It could be like a collection of beliefs, values, priorities that influence how people think, speak, act, all of that, even how they make decisions, which I feel like all of this is important to know about people. So I personally think that having a personal philosophy is extremely important because it can really help you achieve your goals and align your actions with the values that you have within that philosophy. So with all that being said, now that you kind of understand what philosophy is and then also what a personal philosophy would look like, I'm going to be talking to you guys today about my board gaming philosophy. And it's actually been pretty much the same. It's changed a little bit throughout, but for the most part, my board gaming philosophy has been the same for quite some time because I do actually, these are things that drive me and help me interact with the world and with the board gaming hobby. I've kind of like split them into three different phrases that I want to talk about today, with kind of a fourth thing that I wouldn't say, I mean, it is a board gaming philosophy, but we'll just kind of add that in at the end there. So the first one that I want to talk about today is I want to fall in love with board games. And what I mean by that is that when I sit down to play a game, I am looking at it from the perspective of, I want to fall in love with this game. Like, I want to have a reason to pull it off the shelf again. I don't usually sit down to play a board game and think to myself, all right, I'm just going to play this one time and I'm never going to play it again. I'm never going to experience this again. I usually go in with a perspective that is more wanting to explore deeper into that title. So as a game hits my table, I'm thinking of, is this going to be a game that I am going to want to play again and again and again? And if it's not, then well, that sucks, but that's usually why you do the research. You figure out if the game works for you. I am all about, instead of pulling out a new game and playing that, I'm usually more so the type that would pull off a game that is beloved off of my shelf and play it again. If you think about it in a movie sense, I don't know, maybe there's some people that love movies. I also love movies. But if you watch a movie one time, there is so much stuff that you actually miss entirely when you when you only watch that movie one time. Like if you watch a movie a second time, there's a lot that you can gain, so much new things that you might have not seen, that you would never have experienced if you hadn't have given that movie either another chance or just watched it again because you wanted to. There's movies that I've watched 7, 10, 12, 20 times. Lord of the Rings is definitely one that I've watched over 30 times for sure. But like these types of movies that we really love, the more we watch them, we can still gain things out of them. There's a reason why we're continuing to watch those. And in the same way, I want to find board games that do the same thing, that are the same way when I approach them and put them on my table. I also think that this kind of philosophy of wanting to fall in love with board games as opposed to just play them and get rid of them, it is a cheaper way to do the hobby, because I oftentimes will look at games that are new and releasing and be like, I wouldn't like that game. Why would I buy that game? Because that game is not like me. I wouldn't fall in love with it. So it's really, really helped me personally to spend less money to play games that I already own, that I love and have fallen in love with and have been able to really, really explore deeper. It also makes you explore games that you have deeper in general. Like there's so many people that I'll talk to, and people will have played a game one time on their shelf and they'll be like, yeah, but I want to play it again, but there's all these new games. Play it again. You have time to play so many games in a year. Play the game that you love again. Like, trust me, it's so amazing to start doing that. So that's kind of the first one. I want to fall in love with board games. That is kind of my philosophy going into the board gaming hobby, and especially when purchasing. The next one is that board games should help me grow as a person. So when I talk about board games should help me grow as a person, what I'm looking at is that I guess a really good example of this would be that I am not the type of person that likes to... Well, actually, okay, there's a couple of different things that I mean by this. So the first thing that I mean by this would be that I love when board games can stretch my brain, stretch me, and make me either think in new ways that I have not thought of before, or be able to stretch muscles that I don't typically stretch in my everyday to-day life. This is probably not the best example, but it's the first one that came to mind. I do not gamble in real life. I don't do any form of gambling. I don't believe in gambling. It's totally fine if you gamble. Don't mind. But for me personally, my personal philosophy in life is that I do not gamble. But in board games, they should help me grow as a person. And so trying out things like gambling in a board game context actually helps stretch my brain. I can appreciate why people gamble. I can also see why it's dangerous. I can see why it's exciting. And I can experience and grow as a person, but in a safer environment. That's why I think board games are so wonderful, because you can be so many different things. You can grow in so many different ways, but in the comfort of your own home, or at a convention, or at a friend's house. Like, you can do all those things. You can have moments of feeling very, very brave, or moments of feeling very frightened. Especially in like social deduction games, you can kind of find out what makes people tick. Like what do people like to do in social deduction games. It's so interesting to me to find different kinds of people when playing games like social deduction games, because you can learn a lot about people. You can learn a lot about how people think to interact to phrases. You can find trigger words, which is, really scary, but like a lot of people have different triggers, because like board games can be fun. But for me, as long as it's helping me grow as a person, if I am not enjoying the game, if I'm angry at the game, if it's making me feel feelings like that, that can help me grow as a person, and that can be beneficial. One of my favorite games is John Company, and I cannot stop thinking about how much I despise the people behind the East India British Trading Company. I cannot think about how angry those people make me in general. But on top of that, playing that game makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me feel witty. It makes me feel smart. It also makes me feel, so ambitious and scared. It makes me feel failure. It makes me feel success. It is a gambit of emotion, so many big emotions, and that is why it's one of my favorite games. It also really promotes interacting with people, the negotiation throughout the whole game. I love that kind of stuff. So all to say, my thing is that board games should help me grow as a person, so I like to find things that stretch me as a person, make me be somebody that I'm not typically outside of board gaming. And those have grown me in ways that have helped me be different outside of board gaming. So that is why it is so important. The other thing, just as like a sub kind of reason in here, is historical games are amazing to help you grow, because this is just another learning experience. A lot of historical board games I've found are some of my favorite games ever because they come with so much context on the game itself, the people inside the game, the historical moment, and all of that is detailed within its pages. So because of that, historical board games have become something that I have loved so much when I discovered them. Which I just might as well take the moment to shout out my friend Fred Serval over at Homo Ludens channel. Definitely go over there and check it out. He got me into kind of the historical war game hobby, and from that I have been able to grow as somebody who loves so many games that I never knew that I would love, and I've been so happy for the past 2 years being able to discover those. I've got games even behind me right now that I would have never discovered, and they're some of my favorite games because I have explored these more historical board games. But in general, games can help you learn things. They can help you grow. And that is the type of, I want to do that as a person. I believe that board games should help me grow as a person. And my last one is that board gaming should be a social tool. And once again, if this is not true for you, that is totally okay. This is my personal board gaming philosophy. This is what I believe. But you could be completely different, and that is totally fine. So board gaming being a social tool, actually, to get a little personal with you guys, I'm actually not a very social person. I am extremely introverted, and oftentimes I get a lot of social anxiety whenever I'm in a public setting, and I need something to help kind of ground me in social settings. It is very helpful for me to have something like that. And if I don't have something like that, it will be anything. Usually it ends up being, now that I have a ring, now that I'm married, it ends up being this ring, and I'll just be spinning it on a table and just watching it spin. And Kate will always be like, stop. But I just can't properly focus in social settings. I just kind of divulge and go into myself. And so one thing that I learned, and one of the things that's changed my life forever with board games, is that they've actually helped me be able to be more social, and have helped me be able to grow socially, to expand my horizons socially. And so that's why it's such an important thing for me to spread the board game hobby, because it actually helps me be able to be social with people in the board game hobby. Whenever I'm at a table and I have a board game, it is so helpful for me to be able to talk around the table and discuss things with people, but have that centered board game there, something that I can fall back on if I don't know what to say, something that can fill the space of awkward social moments, and also something that I can focus on if I can't focus on anything else. Board gaming is a social tool for me, and so because of that, I want to use it as such. I want to bring board gaming to people. I want to share this, because I personally believe that board games help people understand me at a deeper level, and it's helpful to get to know people through board gaming a little bit, and it just makes me more comfortable. So that's kind of, I guess, the biggest one, because it really has changed the way that I interact with people in kind of my day-to-day and in my gaming life. So yeah, for me, board games should be a social tool. When I buy a board game, I'm not only thinking of myself at all times, I'm also thinking of what other people could enjoy this game that I know, because I want to bring it to them, I want to show them, and I want them to kind of understand that passion, and then in turn be able to comfortably sit down at the table, talk, discuss, socialize, give me my social outlet, but also be able to play a game. So those are kind of the three main things, but I did want to add one last thing at the end. But just as kind of a last kind of lining to all of this, I just want to say that to me, board gaming is not just about the board games themselves, but it is about the people. I have met so many amazing people, some of my best friends through the board game industry, and board games have helped me grow relationships with my friends deeper. Once we introduced board games, we were able to really come together more socially and play games, and it's just been so amazing. So I love the board game industry, obviously, and you know what? If you're watching this video and you haven't tried a board game, I would highly recommend trying a board game. And if you have played a board game, but it's been a while, I really recommend that you try to play a board game again and see if it hits different. I know that you can check out Target, and there's a lot of really good games in Target now, so recommend going there and maybe just picking up something that piques your interest. There's so many really good games out there. That is it for my board gaming philosophy, and something that, you know, this video was not just for me, it was really for you guys. What I want so much is that you guys to think about what is your board gaming philosophy. And if you're comfortable sharing, definitely share that down below. I would love to talk with you down there. If you are a content creator and you heard this and were inspired by this video to make your own, I would love to see that. So definitely send me a message if you did, because I would love to hear, you know, all of your guys' board gaming philosophies. But with that, guys, that is it for the video. Thank you guys so much for being here with me, and thank you for an amazing 2024. I am so looking forward to 2025 as we kind of start this new year. This channel has so much content planned, and I am so excited to share all of that content with you. I love you guys. Let's go ahead and drop the beat.